Hey, it's Alex. You're watching part 2 of my first-person shooter tutorial series. If you haven't seen part 1, be sure to check that out. You can find it on my channel. I'll start by showing you guys what our end goal is for this video. We'll be covering the weapon, like first-person, like weapon sprites, shooting, and enemies that can be killed. Yep, here we go. You can run around. You see we have our gun. We can shoot. We can shoot the zombies. They don't move, but we won't really be covering that today. But yeah, let's get started. Okay, first let's make a new object, and let's call it obj gun. And we'll give it the SPR gun sprite. And in the create event, let's just do image speed equals 0. And in our animation end event, let's just put image speed equals 0 and image index equals 0. And I'll put a comment. I'll call this end shooting animation. Actually, I should show you what the sprite is. It is just 4 frames of shooting. The first frame is like the idle frame. And we do have our origin set to the bottom of the arm for the sprite. That's important to know. And also in draw GUI, we will draw the sprite onto the GUI layer. So we'll go draw sprite extra SPR gun, or you could do sprite index subimage image index. X and Y, I found out that 1000 and 780 work pretty good. X scale and Y scale, we want that to be 10 because otherwise it's way too small. Rotation 0, color C white, alpha is 1. Close out of that. Go back into your player object. Now in the create event, I'll put it here. We want to create the gun object. So just go instance create 00, doesn't matter where you put it, obj gun. And let's add a couple more variables. So let's have can shoot equals 0, and I'm gonna add a new comment animation and another variable called recoil and set that to 0. And while we're in our player object, let's actually draw the crosshair. So in our player object, add a draw GUI and add a code block. And I'm just gonna call this draw HUD crosshair. And first, let's get the center of the screen. So XX equals display get GUI width divided by 2. YY equals display get GUI height divided by 2. And now we'll draw sprite SPR crosshair subimage 0 position these things. Close out of that. Create a new object again. And we'll call this obj bullet, and give it the bullet sprite. The bullet sprite is just a 4x4 square. Now we're going to use some temporary code for this, but first add a create event, and in the create event put z equals 0, x2 equals 0, y2 equals 0, and z2 equals 0. And a damage variable. and add a step event. And in the step event, this is the part that's temporary. I'm going to call this script move bullet. Movement x plus equals x2, y plus equals y2, z plus equals z2. Close out of that. And now add a draw event. This part is also temporary because we are like moving the bullet with these, but we will change it later to be like instant colliding, you know? So just temporarily let's draw a sphere. So I'm just gonna use the wall sprite as a texture just to make it draw a black circle. That S is size. D3D, draw ellipsoid. X minus S, Y minus S, Z minus S, X plus S, Y plus S, Z plus S, T, no, text, and then 1, 1. And for this particular primitive function, steps, with the last argument, is like just like it's like the tessellation on the thing. So it's how many like sides it has, or not like how many sides, but like how many polygons, I guess. This doesn't mean it'll have 16 sides. It's just like, I don't really know. Close out of this, and now back in our player object, go to the step event, and we're going to add a new code block, and I'm going to call it shooting. Now for the shooting script, the reason we made that can shoot variable is to put a limit on our rate of fire, so we'll start by doing that. If can shoot is greater than 0, can shoot minus. Now we'll check if we're pressing the mouse button so we can actually shoot. Fire weapon. If mouse check button pressed, MB left, and not can shoot. So when we fire, we'll be setting our can shoot variable to some number, and then this will subtract it until it hits 0. And we'll only be able to fire again when it hits 0, so that's how the rate of fire thing works. So now we're going to want to do something with our gun object, so we'll type with obj gun, and in the brackets, or braces, whatever, we'll go image index equals 0, and image speed equals 0.6. I found that to be a good speed for my particular gun animation. And well, we have our sound file. It should have been included in the starter pack, so I'm gonna go ahead and go audio play sound SND pistol fire, priority 1, does not loop. And now we'll set our can shoot variable to 6. And now we'll actually create the bullet object, so, or instance of it. So let's go var n equals instance create xy. We want it to create at our position, of course, obj bullet. Now n.z, because we want to reference the bullet now, so we stored it at n so we can edit its instance variables. N.z equals player height, because we want it to spawn at our own height, and dot x2 equals x2 minus x, and dot y2 equals y2 minus y, and dot z2 equals z2 minus player height, and dot damage equals 25. You can make the damage whatever you want, of course. I mean, I just thought 25 was a good number. Let's test it out and see what happens. Hopefully it works. Okay, we have our gun, and we shoot very slow bullets, but that's okay. That's what we wanted for now. But we can shoot in any direction. You can see that the bullet moves toward the cursor, toward the center of the screen, no matter where we're aiming. Yep. Now before we edit the bullet object so that we can make it like collide instantly, let's create the zombie object, obj zombie, and we'll give it the SPR en zombie sprite. And in this we'll add a create event, and the way I'm going to set this up, I'm just going to call this zombie enemy whatever. I'm going to add stats. I'll add HP equals 100, height equals 40. Now I'll have a section for sprites. Image speed equals 0.2. I found to be a good speed for my sprites in particular. Sprite stand equals SPR text zombie, and sprite hurt equals SPR text zombie hurt. I found that like just storing these variables in here, it makes it easier if you want to like copy and paste this enemy and just have a different sprite for them or something like that. I like to have all their stats and whatever in the create event, you know, different references to their sprites. And now we'll change the sprite. The only reason we're not doing we're not just setting the sprite here is because it will make it a lot easier to place them down in the room editor. We'll close out of that. Oh, and set the mask to SPR enemy hitbox. Now now we have some other stuff, so let's go to animation end, add a code block, and I'll just call it sprite stuff, I guess. If sprite index equals sprite hurt, so I should explain this actually. The SPR text zombie hurt, we can see that it's just 2 frames of the zombie like getting shot, and that's what we're doing here is if it's playing that animation and this animation ends, we want to set it back to the zombie like standing. Index equals sprite stand, image index equals 0. So we're setting it back, so if the sprite is him getting shot, when the animation ends we set it back to the standing idle sprite, and we set image index to 0. Now oh yeah, okay, now let's add a user defined event. Go to other, user defined, user 0, add a code block, and we'll call this getting hurt. We're gonna be doing this kind of a weird way, but just bear with me. Change the sprite. Sprite index equals sprite hurt, image index equals 0. Yeah, just bear with me here. Now go back before we actually draw the the zombie itself in like a 3D way. Let's go back to the player object. And in the create event, go down to the bottom, add a couple global variables. Global var cam sign, global var cam cosine, global var, and cam sign is going to be sine degree to radians direction, and cam cosine is same thing but cosine. And now just copy those. Don't copy the global variable definitions though. Create a new code block under step event and just put those in there because we want these to update every step. I'm gonna put them at the top. Doesn't really matter though. And now go back to the zombie and add a draw event and add a code block. I'll call it draw enemy. Oh, I just realized I forgot to be making this bigger. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that before I go any further. Draw enemy. And under the enemy, let's go var text equals sprite get texture, and the sprite will be sprite index, and the sub image will be image index. And now we'll go d3d draw wall, and basically what we're doing is we're just drawing a wall, you know, and the texture will be the zombie sprite. So, you know, pretty simple, right? But the reason we just did that cam sine and cam cosine thing is that we want the wall to always be facing the player. So what we're going to type in for this function is x minus 20 times cam sine, y minus 20 times cam cosine, height x plus 20 times cam sine, y plus 20 times cam cosine, z0, z2 0, text 1 1 for the repeats. And what this will do is it will, let's make that a little smaller, I guess. It will always point this like thing at our camera, basically. So now let's go into our room. I'm gonna move this over here, I guess, and I will place an enemy down, and I'll run the game. Let's run the game just to see if we're on the right track here. And well, it looks like we forgot something because that doesn't look right at all. But it does face our camera all the time, so we got that right. Let's fix that. Go into your control object and add a create event, and in the create event I'm actually gonna add a couple of things. First I'm gonna add display set GUI size, and I'm gonna make it 1280 by 720 just to keep the GUI consistent, I guess. And under that, this is what's going to actually fix that problem with the sprites, is draw set alpha test ref value. And this can be anything. I'll make it 20. Draw set alpha test true. So basically what this does is if this is true, then it will anything that you're drawing will, like, if its alpha is like below a certain value, it will cut it off and it will just make it like 0. And that's what we needed to do make that sprite show up correctly. So let's run it and just see. Okay, yeah, now it looks okay. So, yep, we're making progress here. Now, before we actually make it so we can kill these zombie, let's make a new object, call it obj zombie dead. And we don't need to give it a sprite, but in the create event, add a code block. We'll go height equals 40 again, and image speed equals 0.2, sprite index equals SPR text zombie die. Under animation end, we want to put image speed equals 0 and image index equals image number -1. This is in case you want to just this is the last frame of the sprite basically. And under draw, we will draw the enemy the same way that we did it with the other objects. So text equals sprite get texture, sprite index, image index, d3d. Let's make this bigger. d3d draw a wall. X -20 times cam sine, y -20 times cam cosine, height x plus 20 times cam sine, y plus 20 times cam cosine, 0 text 1 1. And that should just, that's our enemy dying object. Let's go back to our bullet, and I'm actually just gonna, instead of deleting these, I'm just gonna, well, no, we don't need to comment those out actually. I'm just gonna add a few things around them. So var range equals 0, max range equals 8,000. Now we'll have a do until statement. So we'll put a do until statement around this do. And inside that, we'll also add range ++. And for our until, this is basically going to move the bullet in a straight line until it collides with something. So, but first we need to decide what we want it to collide with. First of all, the range, we want it to stop when it hits the maximum range. Otherwise, it could freeze if you just fire off into space. So, range greater than or equal to max range. So, yeah, it'll stop if it hits max range. But we also want it to stop if it hits the floor. So, we'll go z less than or equal to 0. We want it to stop when it collides with a wall, so we'll go place meeting x, y, obj wall. And we want it to stop when it hits the zombie, so we'll go place meeting x, y, obj zombie. And that's all we want that's all we need for now. Now, I did mention that we were going to be doing this a little bit weird, so what we're actually going to do is check for a collision with a zombie and then damage the zombie from the bullet object. So we'll go if place meeting x, y, obj zombie, and we'll go, first we need to get the instance we're colliding with, so var inst equals instance place x, y, obj zombie. So we're going to get a zombie object at the bullet's position, and it's only going to check that if it well, it's only going to check for that when it collides with something, whether it's a zombie or not. Now, if z is less than inst.height, because we want we don't want to be able to shoot over the zombie's head and have it still damage it, so we'll check for if the bullet is within its height. Inst.hp minus equals damage. That's where our damage variable comes in. And also with our zombie object, we'll trigger user event 1 or 0 actually. And then after that we want to destroy the bullet, so we'll go instance destroy down here. And that should allow us to shoot the zombies now, hopefully, if I didn't mess something up horribly. Alright, well, it kind of works. We did forget something. One thing is our screen still turns black when we fire, and that's because we have this, so we don't need this anymore, so we can just delete that. And we can make this invisible too if you want, it doesn't matter. And the other thing is in the zombie object. Oh, it's already open. And add a step event to that, and we'll add zombie dying. So hold on, let me open this on my other thing. Okay. If HP is less than or equal to 0, we want to just create the dead zombie. And instance destroy. So just create the dead zombie, destroy the old one, you know. Alright. Yep. We can kill the zombie now. Now there's one last thing we need to do, and that is add the recoil. We're going to add the recoil. This isn't recoil, it's just an animation on the gun actually. So first let's open our player create. Well, actually we already put the recoil variable in here. So what we need to do is go to step event, add a new code block. Or you could put it in shooting if you like, but I'm going to add a new code block, and I'm going to call it weapon animation. And I'll go, let's put, hold on a second. Alright, we'll type if recoil is greater than 0, recoil divide equals 1.2. This is the number that I just found to be good, you know. Now open up the shooting script, and just anywhere, it doesn't really matter, but put recoil, as long as it's not in here, just put it somewhere below that. Recoil plus equals 8. And now in your gun object, under draw GUI, what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to put all these on their own line so it's easier to see. And I'm going to go ahead and for Y, where we put 780, I'm going to put plus, actually no, forgot this, var r equals obj player dot recoil, forgot to put that. But no, now under Y we'll do plus r times 10. So when we add to our recoil variable, it's gonna like the gun's gonna move down a little bit and then go back up. And under rotation we'll go minus r. So it's gonna rotate and go down a little bit, and that's how we're gonna get our little animation. So let's test it out. Alright. Yep. We got our recoil animation. Alright, and well, that's all that we were gonna cover in this video. So yeah, watch out for part 3, because in part 3 we're gonna add some cool effects like head bobbing and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, until the next video, see you later.